2 nights ago, at my sister's engagement dinner. The dark red wine hit my lap like ice water. Morgan held the empty glass with 2 fingers. A perfect, practiced smile plastered across her face. She leaned over the white linen table. "Oops," she whispered. "Why don't you go grab a mop?" "Vanessa, since you are so used to cleaning up trash, my mother..." Whitney took a slow sip of her water. "My father..." Spencer kept his eyes glued to his phone screen. Next to Morgan, Garrett let out a low smirk and adjusted his silk tie. The stain soaked deep into my slate gray dress. My heart beat steady and calm against my ribs. I stared back at the 4 of them, absorbing their sheer arrogance. They looked so comfortable. They felt so powerful. They had absolutely no idea they were sitting at a $4,000 table inside the exact zero-waste luxury culinary estate that I built from the ground up. Not yet. Anyway, the estate, known across Austin as the Glass House, buzzed with the low, elegant hum of a fully booked Friday night. Waitstaff moved like clockwork, carrying plates of locally sourced, sustainable masterpieces. The ambient lighting caught the edge of the crystal glasses. Every detail in this room existed because I willed it into existence. I funded it. I designed it. I owned it. And my family, sitting directly across from me, treated me like a stray dog they were forced to feed. Whitney set her glass down and finally looked at me. Her eyes scanned the ruined fabric of my dress. "That material looks incredibly cheap." "Vanessa," she muttered, her tone dripping with polite disgust. "It stains far too easily. You should have worn something more appropriate for an evening like this. We are celebrating Morgan. After all." Spencer finally looked up from his screen, though not at me. He turned his attention entirely to Garrett. "So, Garrett," he beamed, his voice booming with the kind of pride he had never once directed my way. "Tell me more about this massive deal your firm is closing. A green tech initiative. You said..." Garrett leaned back, hooking his arm over Morgan's chair. He looked like a man who had already conquered the world. "It is a game changer. Spencer, we are finalizing a vendor contract with the largest sustainable hospitality holding company in Texas. $750,000. Guaranteed over the next 2 years. The procurement team practically begged us to submit the bid. I signed the final paperwork tomorrow morning." Morgan beamed. Placing her hand over his, she shot me a sideways glance, her eyes glittering with malice. "Say?" "Vanessa Garrett is actually changing the environment on a corporate level. He isn't just hauling compost bins out of alleyways. You could really learn a thing or two from him. Maybe he can get you a job managing the janitorial staff at his new client's headquarters." I folded my napkin and set it beside my plate. For 32 years. This was the dynamic. Whitney and Spencer relentlessly tore me down to protect the fragile illusion of Morgan's perfection. If I succeeded, they ignored it. If Morgan simply existed, they threw a parade. They needed me to be the failure, the scapegoat, the punchline, so their golden child could shine brighter. I spent my 20s swallowing my pride, hoping one day they would look at me with a fraction of the respect they gave strangers. That hope died a long time ago. I reached for my phone, resting it flat on the table. "Who is the client?" "Garrett," I asked, keeping my voice entirely level. Garrett chuckled, shaking his head as if explaining algebra to a toddler. "It is a massive umbrella corporation. Vanessa, you wouldn't know them. They own eco resorts. high-end, zero-waste dining concepts, sustainable supply chains. The parent company is called Viridian Holdings. The name hung in the air, Viridian Holdings. I tapped the screen of my phone, unlocking it. I opened my secure messaging app and pulled up the thread with Marcus, my vice president of procurement. I typed a single, brief message. Pull the pending contract for Garrett's green tech consultancy firm. Fail their compliance audit. Terminate vendor status immediately. Do it right now. I hit send. That sounds like a very impressive company. I said, sliding the phone back into my purse. Garrett puffed out his chest. It is the pinnacle of the industry. It takes real connections to even get in the room with their executives. Something you have to earn. 10 seconds later, Garrett's phone buzzed aggressively against the table. He glanced down. The smug smile froze on his face. The color drained from his cheeks, leaving a sickly, pale white mask behind. His eyes darted across the notification, reading it again. And then a third time, his breathing turned shallow. What is it? Darling Morgan asked. Leaning closer, Garrett swallowed hard. His hands trembled as he picked up the device. The portal, he stammered, his voice entirely stripped of its former bravado. The procurement portal just sent an automated rejection. They terminated the bid. They flagged us for a compliance failure. The deal is dead. Spencer slammed his hand on the table. What do you mean the deal is dead? You said it was guaranteed. Garrett looked entirely lost. I do not understand. The vice president of procurement just personally authorized the termination. There is no appeal process. It is just over. I picked up my water glass, taking a very slow, deliberate sip. The ambient noise of the restaurant continued around us, completely undisturbed by the collapse of Garrett's ego. I set the glass down. You are right, Garrett, I said softly. Viridian Holdings is the pinnacle of the industry, and we have absolutely zero tolerance for vendors who lack basic integrity. Garrett stared at me, his brow furrowing in deep confusion. We had echoed. I stood up, smoothing the ruined fabric of my dress. Yes, I founded Viridian Holdings 5 years ago. I am the chief executive officer. And as of 60 seconds ago, your firm is permanently blacklisted from every property I own, including this one. The silence that followed was absolute. Whitney's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Spencer stared at me as if a ghost had just materialized in the center of the room. Morgan looked rapidly between me, Garrett, and the opulent surroundings of the restaurant, her brain violently rejecting the reality unfolding around her. I gestured to the general manager, who had been standing discreetly by the host stand. He walked over immediately, placing a leather-bound checkbook on the table right in front of Spencer. The bill for the evening is $4,000. I said, my voice completely devoid of emotion. Please make sure you tip the waitstaff generously. They work incredibly hard. I turned and walked out the front doors into the warm Texas night air. I did not look back. By noon the following day, the illusion of family loyalty had completely disintegrated, replaced by sheer, desperate panic. Garrett was furious about losing the $750,000 deal. He threatened to cancel the wedding, realizing Morgan's petty cruelty had just cost him his entire financial future. Terrified of losing her wealthy lifestyle and her golden child status, Morgan lashed out like a cornered animal. She orchestrated a vicious, corporate-level smear campaign to extort me. My phone rang while I was sitting in my corner office overlooking the Austin skyline. It was Morgan. I let it ring 3 times before answering. "You think you are so smart." "Vanessa," Morgan hissed, her voice vibrating with manic energy. "You think you can just ruin Garrett's life and walk away? I am going to destroy you." I just sent an email to the Austin Business Journal and every single member of your corporate board of directors. I leaned back in my leather chair. "Is that so?" I told them the truth. Morgan spat. "I told them you embezzled grandfather's estate money to fund your little startup. I attached the bank records showing the withdrawals. If you do not reinstate Garrett's contract by 5 o'clock today, I am going public with the whole story. I will drag your company through the mud. You will be forced to step down." Morgan hung up. She felt incredibly smug. Believing her anonymous emails and forged documents would force me into a panicked settlement. She thought she was playing a game of family drama. She failed to realize she had just crossed the line into corporate warfare. I did not panic. I did not call her back to argue. I picked up my desk phone and called my general counsel. Morgan made a fatal arrogante error. Acting in a manic rush, she sent those extortion emails using Garrett's company laptop, connected to his home network. She completely forgot to scrub the metadata from the forged bank documents she attached. My corporate IT team did not need a subpoena or a police warrant. They simply checked the digital footprint of the files she willingly sent to our servers. The IP address and the document authorship registered directly to Garrett's consulting firm. She had just committed corporate defamation and tortious interference, and she used her fiancé's business infrastructure to do it. I also held the ultimate trump card. Years ago, when our grandfather passed away, I served as the executor of his estate, knowing exactly how deceitful my family could be. I commissioned a legally certified public accountant to audit the entire estate before closing probate. That official, legally binding audit proved unequivocally that Morgan was the one who drained the accounts to buy herself a luxury car. I had kept that certified document locked in a safety deposit box for 7 years, waiting for the day she tried to rewrite history. That day had finally arrived. I instructed my legal team to drop the guillotine. They drafted a multi-million-dollar lawsuit for defamation, per se, and extortion. Because Garrett's network and devices were used to launch the attack, his consulting firm was named as a primary co-defendant. My lawyers froze his business assets pending investigation. When the courier delivered the legal notices to their shared townhouse, the fallout was instantaneous and utterly devastating. Garrett realized his entire firm, his reputation, and his livelihood were on the verge of total annihilation because of Morgan's sloppy, manic extortion attempt. Terrified of bankruptcy, he turned violently against her. He packed his bags, publicly broke the engagement, and contacted my legal team to offer his full cooperation, handing over all of Morgan's devices to save his own skin. Morgan ran crying to Whitney and Spencer, expecting them to protect her like they always did. But there was no protecting her from a bulletproof corporate lawsuit. Faced with the undeniable legal proof of Morgan's fraud and the threat of being dragged into a massive public scandal, my parents did what they always do when things get difficult. They protected their own image. They abandoned her. They cut off her credit cards, refused to pay her legal fees, and told their social circle that Morgan was suffering from a mental breakdown to distance themselves from the embarrassment. Morgan was left entirely isolated. No fiancé, no family backing, facing total financial ruin and a very real threat of criminal extortion charges. 2 weeks later, the dust had completely settled. The lawsuit was moving forward, slowly dismantling the last remnants of Morgan's pride. I sat in the greenhouse above the Glass House restaurant, the warm afternoon sun filtering through the glass panes. The scent of fresh basil and damp earth filled the air. Below me, I could hear the kitchen staff laughing, prepping for the evening service. The people in this building respected me. They relied on me, and I relied on them. They were my chosen family, built on a foundation of mutual respect and hard work, not toxic obligation. A notification popped up on my phone. A long, desperate text message from Morgan, begging for forgiveness, pleading with me to drop the lawsuit, swearing that we were sisters and that family sticks together. I stared at the words on the screen. I felt absolutely nothing. No anger, no pity, just a profound, quiet emptiness that signaled the absolute end of an era. I blocked the number, set the phone down, and went back to checking the soil of the heirloom tomatoes. Sometimes the people closest to you will never see your worth, no matter how bright you shine. They will dismiss your sacrifices, minimize your achievements, and try to force you into a box that makes them feel superior. When I sat at that dinner table and let them mock my life's work, I realized something fundamental about toxic family systems. People like Morgan, Whitney, and Spencer do not diminish you because they truly believe you are weak. They diminish you because they are terrified of your strength. They recognize your autonomy, your resilience, and your ability to survive without them. And it threatens the very core of their control. Their cruelty is not a reflection of your failure. It is a reflection of their deep, unshakable insecurity. When you find yourself the target of this kind of relentless disrespect, you have to stop trying to win an argument they are determined to make you lose. You have to change the rules of engagement. Rule number 1 is simple. Silence is an asset, not a weakness. When someone goes out of their way to humiliate you, your instinct is to fight back, to scream, to defend yourself. Do not do it. Never announce your moves to people who want to see you fail. Let your silence breed their arrogance. And let your results be the consequence they cannot avoid. The most powerful revenge is structural, not emotional. Rule number 2, forgiveness does not mean access. You are allowed to let go of the anger. You are allowed to heal and move forward without carrying the heavy burden of resentment. But forgiving someone for their trauma does not mean you have to leave the door unlocked for them to do it again. You can forgive them from a safe, untouchable distance. You owe no one a seat at a table you built with your own hands, especially if they tried to burn the wood while you were building it. Rule number 3, blood is geography, loyalty is a choice. We are conditioned to believe that sharing a last name or a genetic code obligates us to endure abuse. It does not. Family is a title earned through respect, support, and genuine care. If the people who share your blood refuse to treat you with basic human dignity, you have every right to walk away and build a new family with people who celebrate your presence. I spent years waiting for my parents to be proud of me. I spent years hoping my sister would treat me like an equal, but the moment I stopped looking for their validation, I realized I already possessed everything I ever needed. I had built an empire from the ground up, quietly, steadily, while they were busy playing status games. Now, I want to turn this over to you. Have you ever had to draw a hard, uncompromising line with toxic family members? Have you ever had to walk away from people who tried to rewrite your reality to fit their narrative? How did you protect your peace? And what did you build in the space they left behind? Tell me in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to hear how you found your strength. If this story resonated with you, if it gave you the courage you have been looking for, share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own power today. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. because we have a lot more stories about setting boundaries and taking back control coming your way. Remember, your dignity is not up for negotiation. Protect your peace, protect your empire, and never apologize for outgrowing the people who refuse to grow with you. I know exactly what you are screaming at the screen right now. You are sitting there thinking, why did she wait so long? Why did she let them sit at her table, drink her wine, and insult her to her face? Why didn't she throw them out the second that wine hit her dress after 32 years of abuse? Let me stop you right there. It is not because Vanessa was weak. It is because she was caught in what psychologists call the slot machine effect, also known as intermittent reinforcement. When you grow up as the family scapegoat, toxic parents do not just torture you every single day. If they did, you would leave immediately. Instead, they throw you tiny crumbs of hope, a polite nod, a fake smile, a quiet moment where they almost treat you like a human being. You keep pulling the lever, hoping that this time you will hit the jackpot of their love and respect. Vanessa was not stupid. She was addicted to the hope that her family would finally see her. But the moment that hope died, she did not just get mad. She got smart. Let us break down the tactical, street smart moves Vanessa made to dismantle her abusers legally. Because this is a masterclass in financial self-defense. Move number 1 is what I call the silent guillotine. Notice how she handled Garrett's $750,000 contract. She did not stand up and scream, "I am the boss. Respect me." Scammers and narcissists feed on emotional reactions. By sending a text and letting the automated procurement portal kill the deal, she kept it entirely structural. She gave them nothing to argue with. You cannot gaslight an automated rejection. Move number 2 is building the case. This is the ultimate self-defense strategy. Years ago, as the estate executor, Vanessa did not just take her family's word that things were fine. She paid a certified public accountant to audit the accounts, proving Morgan stole the money. She essentially bought an insurance policy against her own family's lies and locked it in a safety deposit box for 7 years. The lesson here, always keep the receipts. Document everything, especially with family. Move number 3 is the digital trap. When Morgan tried to extort her, Vanessa did not panic or try to defend her name on social media. She let her corporate IT team trace the IP address right back to Garrett's registered business network. She took a petty family lie and instantly upgraded it into corporate defamation. She let their own sloppy arrogance fund their destruction. Vanessa's story teaches us one brutal truth. You cannot negotiate your worth with people who profit from your insecurity. Sometimes, the absolute best investment you can make is walking away, setting a hard legal boundary, and leaving toxic people to drown in their own consequences. In the end, Vanessa did not win because she shouted louder. She won because she finally stopped begging people to see her value. For years, Morgan, Whitney, and Spencer needed her to stay small. They needed her to be the failure at the table, the quiet daughter, the easy target, the one who would clean up the mess and still ask for love afterward. But what they forgot was simple while they were busy insulting her. Vanessa was building something they could never control. That night, the wine stain was not humiliation. It was evidence. It showed her clearly and finally that these people did not deserve access to her peace, her company, or her future. So she did what powerful people do. She did not argue. She acted. She protected her business. She protected her name. And most importantly, she protected the woman she had fought so hard to become. Family is not a free pass to destroy you. Love is not proven by how much disrespect you can survive. Sometimes the strongest thing you can say is nothing at all, then close the door, block the number, and keep building. So tell me, have you ever had to walk away from people who only valued you when they could control you? Share your story below. And remember, your dignity is not up for negotiation. Has a toxic person ever tried to use your own family or business against you? How did you build your defense? And what receipts did you keep? Drop your strategies in the comments below. I want to read them. And if this breakdown opened your eyes, hit subscribe. We are here to help you protect your peace, your mind, and your assets. Stay smart and keep building.